here we are. So this is just a conversation between all four of us about the NC and our little trip up there, which we did. It's arguable, depends on who you talk to, because we all actually did different mileage anyway, but somewhere between 1,750 and 2,000 miles, and quite a lot of hours in the saddle. But what we want to know is what everybody thought about it. So we're going to just reminisce over each day as we went up and what we thought of the roads, and then we'll have a quick chat about what each of us thought about our bikes and the suitability for the roads that we actually went on. What?
The roads.
What roads?
Well,
yeah, there is that.
There is that.
Yeah. Tracks.
So, let's start off day one. So, day one, we were heading for Blythe.
Darlington.
Well, Darlington is where we went to in the end, but originally we were going to Blythe.
Oh yeah, that's right.
We didn't realise there was 2 or more Blythes.
Well, the first issue, I think, was we all had ways, didn't we? We all had our ways on.
Yeah.
But one of us had put a setting on the ways and not told the rest of us. Were you aware of that?
No, I was following the bloke in front.
Yeah.
I avoided motorways.
He put avoid motorways.
Cool. That was cool.
Oh, yeah, no, it was absolutely fine.
I was okay because I've got an Indian, so mine just sat there.
Well, let's get to that.
Should have took the Harley, it's got cruise control.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we had an interesting journey up through a bit of tour of the east of England, really. And apart from a long day, the road was closed.
Yeah, the A17.
So we had a bit more of a diversion. But overall...
A fantastic diversion at that.
Yeah, it was. There was a spectacular view. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
No, you don't.
I do.
You don't.
We came back.
I was watching where I was going.
When we got to that junction and
the
the police
A1,
shut
we
that
couldn't get on
road,
the A1.
we had to turn around and go back, and then I turned left,
Yeah.
and then it took us round like this S-bend down the hills, and then as we
It's
came round
just
the cutting
beautiful as you
stripes,
came
and then as
round.
we came up the
Just
top.
absolutely
I
stunning.
remember it well.
But anyway, we eventually... you might as well not have gone, hadn't you?
I thought Devon was lovely. I like Devon.
So we... First hotel. Darlington.
Yeah, Darlington Travel Lodge.
We were knackered, weren't we?
Yeah, well,
It's
that was 5 miles before I saw the sign for Darlington, and my ass didn't think I could go on anymore.
Did you?
And I thought when I saw that sign, I gotta make it.
Yeah. So we covered a lot more miles than necessary, but we had a fantastic time, and it was really, the whole thing was about the experience and the rides, and not really being that bothered about how far or how fast we were going.
Would you do it again?
Would I do it again? Oh, tomorrow. I didn't want to come back.
Didn't you?
Oh no, I love.
You sped off quick enough. You couldn't catch up.
Look, we're jumping ahead. Let's get to Darlington. So we got to Darlington. Absolutely fine. There was a problem. Do you remember the issue when we went to get something to eat?
Yeah, no salad.
No salad.
No salad.
Yeah,
No anything.
no anything.
They didn't have anything.
I made an offer. I said I'd go to Tesco's and get them some.
And unfortunately, the lady serving us actually took you serious. She thought you were being serious.
I was.
Yeah. But no, it was all right. It was my first night
Sharing a room
with John.
Yeah.
Yeah. And unloading the bikes and everything. And we'll come back to loading and unloading bikes and how much stuff we all had for biscuits.
Only because you stole everything from everywhere.
Does your wife watches?
So, yeah, no, I thought it was great. I thought it went really well to that point.
Yeah,
It did, yeah.
Yeah. Everything worked well. We had enough equipment for everything that we needed. All the alarms worked well. The locking the bikes together all went absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
What time do you get up in the morning?
5.
He was always
Tim?
up. About 6.
John?
when you woke me.
Nicely.
What time was that?
I don't know. I mean, I wake up when I get up. I get up when I wake up.
Yeah. So we had nice early starts anyway.
Yeah. I don't like eating breakfast on my petrol tank. We set off at a reasonable time.
A reasonable time in the morning.
Yeah.
And then we've got this run up to Inverness from Darlington. And for me, I mean, don't get me wrong, the rest of the journey is just absolutely spectacular. But that road from Darlington up to Inverness, most of the road, up to the last cafe, and the other side actually, the other side.
Border,
Scottish border.
That road is just incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I thought I was all right, even though I was at the back.
Going from Darlington to Inverness, obviously you go through all them roads, but then you start getting all the scenery and everything, and that then really makes you get the buzz because you know what you're going to
Kelda
see.
Forest.
Yeah.
Round there, all the way up to the border. And
then
then the other side, those curves after the border. Just,
It's great.
you just, yeah, we'll come to that as well.
that last calf in the Scottish border was, I enjoyed that.
One with
Yeah.
the chickens.
Yeah.
The one, did you enjoy the chickens?
No,
No.
don't like chickens.
Or birds, or robins, which
don't
we'll
like
get to
birds.
as well. And then we got to Inverness, and but the journey there, that was when we got there. That's when it really started for me, and just riding to there reminded me of when I was a kid as well. Obviously, from up that way, it's just all right. It was lovely.
Welsh.
And then we got to Inverness, which was packed with bikes, wasn't it?
Cool, yeah, was it?
Stacked with bikes,
The Premier Inn.
obviously all doing.
Yeah.
The car park
The
was
NC.
absolutely
Well,
chock.
Darlington was packed.
No, it's the next one.
It was the next one.
Was it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It kicks off something.
that's
Yeah.
where it all kicked off. But obviously, the car park was absolutely chock-a-block full
Of
of bikes.
bikes.
I could have sworn that was Darlington.
No,
Darlington, there was just one parked beside us
yeah.
when we went out in the morning, weren't there?
So, hotel at Inverness, pretty good.
Yeah, amazing.
It was
Yeah,
all right.
good.
Food good.
What was it?
Rooms were good. Yeah.
No, that was Premier Inn.
Oh, Premier Inn. Yeah, so.
Was it Premier Inn? Yeah, Premier Inn Inverness. The big thumbs up. And a good peaceful night's sleep.
And
12 till 5,
That had a
something like
nice
that.
shower in it as well.
Yeah, no.
No, I slept all right. I slept all
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
About 9 o'clock, I think, 9:30 was about the latest we went to sleep.
yeah. And although it was only the second time we'd unpacked everything,
Yeah.
we were all pretty nifty at getting everything off and the bikes locked together. Took no time at all. Everything easy enough.
Brought me a little lock, wasn't it?
So then we're on to day 2
Day 3.
and day 3, and that's the run up to John O'Groats.
Run up to John Groats.
That was tough.
That was cold.
That was freezing.
That was cold.
Absolutely freezing.
My highlight was I got to meet Paddington.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we got there.
After
Yeah,
listening
put a
to him.
picture
Oh,
of
that
that
was
on
all
there.
shut, wasn't it?
Other than
Yeah.
listening to him for 500
Yeah.
miles.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was so cold and that wind whistled across. But we had a brief discussion before we started filming about the best hotel, and everyone sort of seems to think Premier Inn, but for me, that hotel, and I know you didn't like the John O'Groats Hotel, did you?
It was all right, but it wasn't brilliant. But they were nice people.
It was the walking in. It is because we were so cold.
Oh yeah, that heat.
The heat.
And you opened that door, and the heat just hit you. Absolute. That made it for me. I didn't care about anything else. Could have slept on a straw mattress. It wouldn't have bothered me because we were warm, and I didn't think we'd ever be warm again.
That was
and yeah, getting our photo taken, and lots of nice people offering to take photos and stuff.
Well, they give us extra milk and tea bags.
Absolutely. Nothing too much trouble.
Yeah.
Gave Jim a bit more more than tea bags, but yeah, great. The road was just barren. I thought I was a bit disappointed that by then going across to John O'Groats.
Well, it was all getting shut then, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There was nowhere to stop to have a coffee and.
Well, I'd asked people before we went about petrol, saying, do we need to take a spare can of petrol? What's the best way to carry it? And everyone said, there's loads of petrol stations, loads of petrol, they're always open.
Well, they are always open. It's just self-service.
Well, but there weren't many. We had to hunt them down.
Cool. I did that one on the way to Inverness that night.
Yeah.
I was running on fumes.
Yeah. While we're on about petrol, what about economy of all the bikes? How did yours do? You didn't think about it, just filled it up.
Just fill it up.
Never
Just
think
filled
about
it up.
it.
Filled it up when you got an opportunity.
Yeah.
And if you didn't need it,
No.
top up from someone else's filling up.
Yeah.
So then, from John O'Groats, you'll remember we went looking for puffins, and we all saw them.
Yeah.
Before John O'Groats.
No, that was after John O'Groats.
Yeah,
it was the road from John O'Groats to.
I had to shoot to Tesco's at 6:30 in the morning.
Why was that?
But why did you disappear off to Tesco's first thing in the morning?
Hey, that was 26-mile ride there and 26-mile ride back.
You did it quite quickly, though.
But I needed to
get
some
going.
Yeah, and I needed to pick something up, and I also bought a new jacket because it was bleeding cold.
Yes,
very cold.
And the following night, you were going to be camping for the first night.
Yeah.
What about the road across then to Badcall? So we went. The next stop was going to be a place called Badcall.
No, it wasn't.
And it was.
No, it wasn't. It was Inverness.
This is getting too much.
Inverness.
Yeah. John O'Groats to Inverness, but we didn't stay in
John
Inverness.
O'Groats.
We went to Scary.
Oh, he's got his teeth.
Yeah, which is Badcall.
I thought you were getting old.
Yeah.
Check
So-
the map.
So we were, the next night was going to be. Hey, we're stripping off on
checking
camera.
the map.
Yeah, we stayed in Badcall, which is where you camped, but we went via.
That's where I got the
Yeah,
t-shirts
yeah.
from.
Yeah. Where's that? That's not on here.
So
I camped that night.
So we got the road to Badcall. It started to improve. I thought.
Yeah.
But the
There was-
road from the main road to our pods wasn't very good, was it?
No.
Oh
No.
no, no, that was
Exciting.
it was very exciting. But some of the roads before we even got there, though,
They were good.
the single track with passing places. Do you remember we stopped and we saw those two puffins in the
lock there, yeah.
Yeah.
What's their name?
Yeah.
and we
right.
pointed them out to you.
Yeah, right. Okay. Gotcha.
Simon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that road was quite. I mean, there was big lorries rattling down there, weren't they?
And then we all said we was getting the next stop. We was getting about another 10 miles. We was going to stop for a cup of tea, and the calf was only just round the corner.
So we got to Badcall. And we went and found this wonderful pod that me and John were staying in. Pod. Yeah.
Bad call, wasn't it? I mean,
Badcall. Lovely chap.
Beautiful scenery.
Incredible scenery.
Beautiful.
The road up to it,
Different.
very different. Gravel all the way.
Mm-hmm.
Hairpin bends. And
80% incline.
yeah. In fact, nowhere flat other than that next to where the pod was.
All the water. Yeah, but that wasn't.
Just stop and open the gate and make sure you close the gate.
How? When it's 1 in 3 and the gravel.
But it was fun, and we had a great night's sleep, and we were looking forward to going and getting breakfast and going back to Jim and Tim, who were camping.
Yep.
We got a text. Do you remember? Do you remember we got a text in the morning from Jim?
No.
And he said,
Midges.
"What do you think of the midges?"
Oh yeah.
And we said, "What
midges?
midges?"
Yeah.
In our air-conditioned, pneumatically sealed pod.
Is that the one where you stole all the cakes and all the biscuits and didn't leave me with anything?
I took
I'm
them.
surprised you left the 4 eggs.
I took them for you. Promised to cook
What,
me
the eggs?
breakfast.
Did I?
Yeah.
Didn't have any oil. I wanted virgin oil. And trying to find a virgin in that place was unreal.
Yeah. So anyway, we were going to go for breakfast back at the campsite where Tim and Jim were staying. And that is a lovely road. It's a lovely ride. Riding back down that track, down to the main road, and then the main road.
But we had dinner with them as well. You missed that.
Oh, we did.
Because we had my mate Robin with us.
Oh, yes.
Didn't we?
Yes, we went. We did. We went and had pizza, didn't we?
Express.
Because they had fantastic pizza oven. They were doing
Yeah.
pizzas.
They
Yeah.
were good pizzas.
And a robin came. Absolutely incredible. John is terrified of birds. It's a phobia. You shouldn't mock him, though we did.
Mockingbird, isn't it?
And this robin wouldn't leave us alone. And it kept jumping onto my boot and off, and then onto the tent and back on. And it kept looking at you.
I was upset it didn't end on my
You
boot.
you threatened to kill it.
I would have done. Cock Robin and all that.
But anyway, so
It survived.
it survived, and so did we. We had a fantastic night's sleep, and we went back for breakfast in the morning, and to discover Tim and Jim had done a deal with their camping equipment.
You can come and pick your tent up, Tim, anytime from mine. As
You're
left it
amazing.
there. Not a problem, mate. You
That-
can come pick it up from mine if you
Yeah,
like.
okay, thank you. You're a good man. Sure, only remind me.
Tim and Jim decided that they were going to phone ahead and book some hotels. And so that's what they did. But they lightened the load of their bikes as well.
Drastically.
Because 1, it was cold, 2, the midges are impossible, and 3,
They weren't a good
Tim
choice.
was suffering quite badly from the few hundred miles that we'd done. I don't know how many miles we'd done by then. It must have been getting on for about
600-700.
600-700 miles. Yeah.
I didn't think it was that bad.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Sleeping on the floor didn't help.
That's it. That's what it is, isn't it? It's sleeping. It's not having any comfort.
Could have been worse. Could have been pissing with rain.
Because
Yeah,
there
you're
was
right.
another issue, wasn't there? Nobody started work before 4 o'clock in the afternoon, did they? There was no cafes open.
Well,
No.
even
There
the
was-
shop didn't open.
The
until
shop didn't
8:30
open.
on the
It's
campsite.
shut.
Yeah.
The inside
Ev-
is shut.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from after we had breakfast, didn't we?
Yeah.
At the campsite.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. You decided you'd booked the hotels. Where was the next stop?
Garlock.
Garlock. Yeah.
That was nice.
It's lovely. The road over there. Was that where we stopped at the
That's
golf club?
No. That was
No.
when I did my little skip thing across the mountains, wasn't it?
That's when we did block them
Da,
up.
da, 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 da,
Oh,
da,
yeah.
da. See, you forgot all about that.
Yeah, yeah. John did a zip wire from one side to the other.
Yeah, that's where we met that guy that took the.
Yes,
Up
yeah,
there,
the
yeah.
Czech guy.
Yeah.
So we met a Czech guy he'd spent a couple of months doing the North and South Islands of New Zealand,
Yeah, in Norway.
and then he did the what is it?
Yeah.
What do they call it?
Scandinavia as well.
Yeah, so you do Scandinavia, you do Norway, Sweden, and what have you. And he said, in his opinion, he said it's like the two have bumped into each other and created Scotland and the roads. And he said he's ridden all around the world. Mind you, John, you've ridden all around the world, loads of places, across Europe, America.
Yeah.
How did it fare? What did you think of it?
I think I've been spoiled by riding in America and going across the Blue Ridge Mountains, the Smoke Ridge Mountains. Just the roads are far superior. There's no commercial traffic on the roads. The roads are not a problem. I was spoiled by that. Going across Europe, I'd prefer to go across Europe than to go up the east side of Scotland again.
It's
But there again,
pretty barren, wasn't it? It's barren and nothing.
I told everybody it was shut. It was
Yes,
shut.
yeah.
You know, the west side is beautiful, yeah, and the roads were great. But no, I mean, riding across Europe is great as long as you don't go on the autobahns. That's the scary thing.
Yeah.
You know,
But for the miles that we covered doing the NC, we're so much closer to Europe. And we could have, for the same mileage, gone into the Alps and back.
the Alps. Yeah.
The Alps, yeah. Have you done the Alps?
No, I've only done what were the mountain ranges?
Pyrenees. So, well,
Pyrenees.
we could just about stretch to the Pyrenees, but we wouldn't have much time there to do the same mileage.
Yeah.
But we did have a spare day, didn't we?
But there again, when we did all the Normandy beaches, I mean, we had a fantastic week round there.
Yeah.
Unbelievable that is, if you get a chance.
And that's not too far at all, is it?
No.
Could do that in a long weekend easy.
All the underground caves where the army was all positioning, and it's unbelievable. It really is unbelievable. You know.
Yeah.
And again, the roads were great. I mean, the first toll bridge, we had a bit of a problem. We were queuing to go through the toll, one of the tolls. First one we came to in France,
Yeah.
and the lorry in front decided to reverse. And he reversed onto me. Mate was in front of me with his son on the back of the bike, and he hit the bike. And they rolled off the bike, and I was lucky because there was only me on the bike, so I pushed it back quick.
Yeah.
We stopped the lorry reversing. But what he didn't realise that above it was the police headquarters, and it was all on CCTV, and the police were there within seconds.
Yeah.
And they got the Italian driver, I think it was.
Yeah.
But that was quite close. That was
Yeah.
the first toll we'd come to.
Yeah.
But, on him.
So we're only halfway through, just over halfway through, so we're at Garlock.
Yeah.
But the roads have started and the views have started to get really impressive now, haven't they? They're lovely to ride, and I know I went off a few times, and I know you went off a few times, Jim, at a bit of a lick, and they were fun to ride, but you couldn't do crazy speeds because they were atrocious. There were potholes out of nowhere and gravel. Trains. Yeah. Oh yeah, that road. I went off there.
Yeah.
I loved that.
was
I don't have much footage of that because, for obvious reasons, of preserving evidence should you get stopped. I have to. So what you have to do if you video is sometimes you have to empty your roll so that
Just so you want to
in case. Yeah, who was driving the car?
Well, he picked me up because I had a puncture.
Yeah, So we don't have that much footage of that, but we do have some nice. I have some nice riding, and I will have been overlaying some video over this conversation. But it was starting to get really nice. What was the hotel we stayed at that night then?
What, in Garlock?
Yeah.
You and John was on the...
Was that the one up on the hill?
Up on the hill.
That was a decent
With the
hotel,
400
wasn't
steps
it?
to it.
Yeah.
The food was
Food was alright. Is that the one where we parked the bikes down the bottom and then rode?
rode up to the
Yeah.
top.
Yeah, the food was okay in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, then me and
Yeah.
Dad was at the hotel.
Everything was well cooked.
You come and joined us, didn't you?
Do you not remember? Everything was well cooked.
The
Yeah.
fish was a bit battered.
I'm on about breakfast.
Battered more than... the fish was battered more than battered.
And but of course, you two stayed in the posh hotel, didn't you?
We did, with the paper cups.
With the paper cups.
Right.
But no, the hotel itself, yeah, it was all right.
It was alright.
That was the
But
one
you
where
just
they
had
gave me
paper
grief
cups.
about the alarm.
You
going
bet,
off.
yeah, your alarm going off at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah, but that was yeah, we ate there in the evening, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's all right. And stunning view across the bay.
Yeah.
It actually looked like it wasn't in the UK.
Looked like Bogner.
Do you think?
Yeah, Bogner's like that.
Bogner's water does not look that
crystal
clear.
clear.
I mean, that was crystal clear, and it was like Mediterranean blue, wasn't it? It was just absolutely incredible. But the roads, again, just stunning. Everywhere we went, bends. The general condition of the roads was a bit of a concern. And then Garlock. Yeah. Garlock. But then the next day, the views just got better. Was this on the way to Bealach Bar?
No. After we'd done the Black Bar, that was...
Yeah, so it was after Garlock. And that was when we stopped at
little
the...
calf on the bottom of the hill.
So what happened next was Bealach Bar, which was an experience. I mean, we'd heard all sorts of things about it, but it was nice to be on. It'd have been nice to have been in the lead.
I got a good video of it.
We do have some good video. What I'll use Jim's video, because we strapped a camera. I don't know quite how we did it, but we did manage a way of fixing a camera to the front of your bike, didn't we?
Yeah, we mounted it. I took my phone holder apart.
We took things apart
The
and
nail will come out later.
Cable tie.
and it was a lovely view up there. But again, once you got up there, it was a bit. By that time, we'd just been stunned by everything that it sort of.
It's shut up here as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it should.
Well, we want to go back down there. Oh, okay.
Yeah. But coming down, because you have got to do it both ways just to get the full experience. And coming down, someone commented on an Instagram post I put up saying, "Oh, you wussies, the scary bit's going up," and I totally 100% disagree. The scary bit is coming down because the natural fall is pushing you forward all the time.
Yeah.
You've got your brakes, and I was having a bit of brake fade on a number of days. It didn't help, my tyres were failing as well. But
Failing.
but we'll come to that.
Failing?
So
It failed by the time we hit Inverness.
yeah, I think going down is much scarier than going up. Going up, you just keep the throttle on. The only danger going up is if you get stuck behind a car, because pulling is really difficult. Because if you slow too much on a bike, you fall over, don't you? Especially if you're leant
You're
over.
like going to Applecross.
Where we went up and done
Yeah.
the Black Bar.
Yeah.
You
Bealach
forgot
Bar.
about that calf we stopped at before you went.
Yeah,
At the bottom.
yeah.
Yeah,
We'll get to the car.
That was a lovely one.
It was a best cup of tea.
Best
Best cup of tea of the
Best
trip.
cup of coffee.
Yeah, very good.
And nice.
So if you
Bit of cake.
if you're ever there, bottom of Bealach Bar, there's a calf. Best cup of tea, best cup of coffee you'll get on the trip, and they were open. But yeah, no, that is well worth doing, and I mean, you just don't see roads like that anywhere else in this country, do you?
Thank God. No.
And then we went.
Well, no, some of them were ridiculous. weren't they?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there's a damn great sign that says, roads are impassable. Do not use if you've got a learner driver.
Motorhome.
Motorhome.
2 cyclists going up, for
Yeah,
which
they
we
should
had
shut the
to.
bottom, shouldn't they?
We had to wait for how long? They were 10 yards away from the passing place, and we had to wait for 5
Don't
minutes
put that bit
while
on my
they.
video.
Did you hit him? Did you pinch your ass?
No, because while we were sat
Get up
while we were sat in the lane fire, and I looked around you and John, and I was like, "You got to be fucking kidding!" Looking at these, of course. Well, it was on the camera was on, didn't it?
These 2 cyclists took a very, very long time to cycle past.
Well, they were coming up.
And they were coming up. Yeah, we were going down.
I could have taken one down with me.
Yeah. But anyway, well worth the experience to that point. And then we're off, and we're running to Fort
Augustus. Yeah.
Augustus. That's it. And Loch Ness.
And you three stayed in that fantastic hotel.
Yeah, and you stayed in the Chinese takeaway.
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Great food. Turkish. Was it Turkish place? Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Next to the
Loch.
Yeah. We didn't. We thought we'd seen a monster, but it did turn out to be Jim. Yeah, and then the next morning, more stunning roads, but starting to get flatter again.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it was over. Like that.
Well, it might have been for you. We rode for 14 hours coming home. No, that wasn't over. That was a fucking long way.
You've missed a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you've missed a day
Which day?
because we went from Fort Augustus to Falkirk.
Yeah, but that's it. That's it over, isn't it? Once you're off there, you go to Falkirk. Once you're at Falkirk,
Fresh home.
we're on our way home. Yeah, that's what I mean. The NC500 is that loop, and then once we're off from Loch Ness, we're on our way home.
Yeah.
Because of weather change.
Because so we had the best weather Scotland has ever seen in the last 2,000 years, and it happened the week we were there, which is absolutely incredible, and just makes it more special, really. The journey home, we took a decision. Now we can talk about tyres.
We took a decision to come home early because of heavy rain, and you haven't bought
Tyres,
tyres.
yeah.
The tyres, admittedly, they'd got at one point, so they'd squared off on the way up there, but going around Scotland, I curved it round again. But there'd been some thread or something coming through, which I wore off, and they looked all right again.
Yeah, but they wouldn't have done any justice at 30 mil of rain, would they?
No. But we did.
It's nice in the dark, though, because the white glows.
It would have been helpful on the Suzuki with a bit of extra glow, that's for sure. But yeah, no, the Suzuki I wouldn't have wanted to go on any other bike. But saying that, if we went again, I'd go on the Bonneville if we went on the same bikes. Because the Suzuki was sort of too tempting. No, it's perfect. Who was the most comfortable? Who do you think? All right, let's have a vote. Who thinks that they were the most fresh at the end of the day riding?
I ride every day.
You're 13 years younger than me?
Yeah, I suppose so.
That's a lot.
And all of a sudden, these years catch up with you.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, for me, I loved the Suzuki. Yeah, I thought it was It was the lightest bike. It was the most economic bike in terms of fuel usage. It was probably the fastest, and on those roads, probably the best handling bike out of all of them, which for me makes it ideal. Now, I realise if you'd got on it, Tim, you'd probably go, bloody hell, I can't sit like this.
Yeah.
But I could. So for me, I found it really comfortable, really light, really easy to do everything with. And that made it, for me, really pleasurable.
Because you're tall, the bike is a semi-sports bike, and you're tall and the bike is higher. It suits you, otherwise, to be fair, you wouldn't have bought it.
No, true. And I bought it specifically for that sort of job. That's what I said.
I bought the Indian because when I went out in the Indian, it was so flexible.
Right, okay, let's talk about the Indian next then. I got the coolest video and the coolest photos of the Indian with you riding. That video when I came alongside you, and a video, you haven't seen it yet, have you?
No.
And I'll put it on here, and it is just sums up what an Indian is all about, I think. Roll-ups on the back there, sat there, relaxed, just cruising
totally
in the car,
relaxed.
just absolutely incredible. And that sound, which I heard a lot of coming down Bealach.
Yeah, but you knew I was coming. You knew I was there. That's the whole point of having them.
Yeah, and I didn't want to know that you were there.
When you're filtering, they hear you coming.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
we
I
did
keep
quite a
grabbing
bit of that
bottles
as well,
of it.
didn't we, coming
Yeah.
back? But the Indian, it wasn't that bad on fuel, was it?
No, not really. I mean, it's only a small tank. I mean, I think the most I put on it was 11 quid.
Yeah.
You know,
I think the most I put in
it
was
was
8.
economical, but it is pretty quick.
Yeah, yeah.
The handling is superb. I mean, if you're going around a tight bend left or right, then pick your foot up.
Yeah.
Because I tend to sit there with my heels down, and the trouble is you go around a roundabout and it's.
Yeah.
But if you pick your foot up, wouldn't have that problem.
Yeah.
There's still quite a way to the pegs, but I'm just lazy and my legs ache.
It did cut out once, didn't it, on coming back?
Yeah.
For no reason.
I can only think that I changed down because you'd gone over the top and down, and we were coming up that hill, weren't we? And I changed down.
We were in town, weren't we?
We were in that town.
Yeah.
And I changed down, and I think I hit the kill switch
Yeah.
with my right hand because where I indicated right, because on a Harley you've got on the Harley you've got a left and a right.
Yeah.
On the Indian, it's all on one, like your sports bikes.
Yeah.
And I think I went to indicate right to overtake, and I hit the kill switch, and it just cut out.
Yeah.
But as soon as I pulled over, you bypassed me, didn't you? Over to me, because I'd stopped, and I just turned it and kicked, and it went.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but it went really well, and it did everything well, didn't it?
Yeah.
And that's the two extremes: the Suzuki at one end, the Indian at the other, and in the middle, we had the two Super Meteors. Now I know you scraped a lot.
Bit rude.
Yeah, well, you did. So tell us about your Super Meteor.
Yeah, scraped it.
Happy with it? Comfy?
Change the seat.
Change the seat.
That's the only.
But the shocks.
The shocks are fantastic.
They're with the damping at the top.
Dampings at the bottom.
Dampings at the bottom.
Yeah, they put on different shocks. That's the ones I bought last year.
Yeah.
The originals are the dampings at the top. But these ones, you
brilliant sound. I've picked up a lot of the sound of your bike, but perfectly happy with it. Yeah. And Super Meteor, the cheapest bike out of the four, absolutely no problem.
No.
The most unlikely tourer for that job, but absolutely perfect at the same time.
Yeah,
Tim.
No,
obviously, Super Meteor.
Yeah, no, I loved it. The bike handled well. I was happy. Had a few lessons.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, you're all right. No, I'm not embarrassed about it. But that's just the way it is.
The trouble is when you're riding by yourself, no one's criticising you.
No.
Or looking and watching you.
No, but that's the same when riding horses.
Yeah.
everyone gets into bad habits, and you're not aware unless somebody looks and sees.
Yeah.
But we all do it.
The bike was perfect for me. I love the bike.
Okay, so if you did it all again, would you go on the same bike?
Yeah.
You'd go on the same bike?
Yeah.
Same bike?
Yeah.
I think because of the bikes you're on, if we did it again, I'd probably go on the Bonneville. Because slightly less power, a bit more relaxed, and it would prevent me from going off and being silly.
Well, I didn't take the Fireblade.
Yeah.
Because if you've got a Fireblade, you ride fast.
Yeah, exactly. Can you imagine if you come on the 600?
When we hit them first roads at the Scotland,
we'd have been gone because
CBR.
that was my instant thought. God, I wish I was on the CBR.
Yeah, right that.
us two, we're not a good mix when we get it's like that, are we?
But no.
But I'm getting too old to do that, and I know I'm getting too old to do that, which is perhaps why the Suzuki suits me.
You don't think as quick. Your reactions are a lot slower. And God, my legs ache and back ache.
Yeah.
I've had enough by the time I get out of Stanton.
Okay, so are we gonna do a weekend away to the west of England, Cotswolds, Wales, or something like that? Just a one nighter or midges? A 2 night? No, they don't have midges. They have ticks.
I've got a hat. I can cut some holes in it if you want to make sure where you're going and put it over your crashing on it.
Yeah, I don't mind.
So maybe we'll be having a trip over there. It might be just me and Banana Man if nobody else fancies it, eh? If you can. Oh, something that we've got to mention that particularly me and Jim struggled with was, and it's embarrassing, isn't it? Because
no, it's not embarrassing. It's just being away from the wife,
being away from the missus. It was really hard. And it's the first time for both, well, me, not as long as you, was 35
years.
35 years. And that was hard.
Come home though, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. I come home and...
Oh, you're home then? That's what I did.
Yeah.
That's the first longest I've been away from the lane.
Was it?
Yeah. All the courses I went on were only 5 days.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, we forget about...
I used to go away every month.
Yeah.
When I was working. But I mean, the longest trips I've done is obviously America. But I mean, they've all been sort of 16 days in total.
Yeah. Yeah. But so we've got to mention that because
it's hard.
It was hard.
It was hard.
But the thing that actually made it easier was being with you guys, because I don't think I wanted to do it with anybody else because we had the right mix of sensible and stupid. And particularly, I mean, John putting up with me, with my...
I noticed.
I know. When do I get this medal you promised?
Sorry.
And just to put it in perspective, I don't go to sleep before 12 o'clock. I'm constantly on the videos, downloading, editing, trying to do stuff. And I am up at the latest at 5 o'clock, except for the very last day when John said, "You are not getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning." And I said, "Okay." And I got up at quarter to six. Was it quarter past? Quarter past 5. He said, "I told you not 5 o'clock." And the first thing I said was, "It's quarter past."
I said, "I'm going to sleep now." And that was about 8:30, and I went to sleep, and he was on the computer. And then I woke up at 5 to 5, and he was still. And I said, "Have you done that all for fucking night?" And he said, "No, I've only just started." Well, you didn't wake me up. I mean,
yeah,
I went to sleep and.
Yeah, and I
had my earplugs in.
It was really good, and
yeah.
Maybe we should do something next year. Maybe not quite as far. Maybe different direct. Anyway, I need to wrap up this video. But yeah, so hopefully we'll do something next year. Hopefully, some of us might do something this year just for a weekend, short weekend away. Did you enjoy it?
Yes.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah. Really good. I could recommend anybody to do the NC
On an Indian.
on a Suzuki GSX-8R.
On a super meteor.
Yeah.
So there you go.
There you go.
Either bike.
But there was another super meteor that went up Apple.
Right. So before we go,
That's the one that broke down at the top.
Before we go, the one thing I've got to say is, when we were there, the amount of people ogling the Indian, staring at it, walking around it, looking at it. Same with the Super Meteor. The Suzuki, which to my mind, in my head, was by far the best bike out there.
Nobody looked at it.
Nobody even noticed it. Nobody looked at it once.
Comedy shit.
How many did you see?
If you'd had
I
that,
saw a couple of Indians. I saw loads of Super Meteors. I did not see another Suzuki GSX-8R.
Well, they keep breaking down, so they don't.
they might have looked if you had the Green Hornet out there.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
But you know why you didn't see any? Because they chew through their tyres too quick and they end up with flat tyres.
And on that note, goodbye. If you're out on your bike ride, careful, stay safe. And don't forget to look after your loved ones, because you miss them when they're not there, don't you?
Yep, without doubt.
Ta-ta.
He was going to stick him up his nose.